Something strange just happened at Tesla. I received an interesting call from Tesla a few months ago. I did research on Tesla's offers for trade-ins. As part of this, I checked the trade-in value of one of my vehicles, a Model Y Performance. I was quoted a rather low 29,500 euros at the time. Fast forward to today, Tesla now offers me for the same vehicle 38,000 euros. So a 29% increase in 4 months. Has anyone else experienced this? So people are naturally wondering, does this make you wonder if Tesla is looking for used robotaxi vehicles? I don't think that's likely. Is it possible? Sure. But I think the most likely explanation is this. I think this is driven by stabilization of used vehicle prices we see in the market. As these become more predictable, Tesla can be more aggressive on trade-in offers. Higher trade-in offers is a new vehicle demand lever. This also predicts and indicates that Tesla is done with massive price cuts. It could also be a way to boost demand for new vehicles, because if you let someone trade in their used vehicle for a higher price, they are more likely to actually get a new vehicle and return the old one. Oh, and by the way, AJ's car has 28,000 miles, so it's not nothing. And just to be clear, AJ did not add FSD in the last 4 months, so zero changes except adding a lot more miles. Oh, and AJ says, which is what makes us even stranger, he didn't request a quote for this last one. This came out of the blue, I guess? So if you are thinking of getting a new Tesla vehicle and you want to trade in your current one, submit a trade-in request right now and then wait for a few months. Maybe it's just how Tesla is trying to entice customers to get a new vehicle. Speaking of strange things, only 23% of the people watching this are subscribed? What? Subscribe if you haven't yet, please. We have good numbers from China, 13,000 deliveries. We are now 16.7% above the previous quarter, and we are just a little bit above the last year's same week in the quarter. The previous quarter is in blue here. We are clearly above that, but there's still a small gap between last year's quarter and this quarter. And James increased his estimate for this quarter by 7,000 vehicles to 420,690 vehicles. Gary calls the number solid, and what's interesting is weekly Model 3 registrations of 5.4 thousand were the highest since the Model 3 Highland launched last October. This is, I think, the best chart to understand what's going on. The current year is in red and the previous year is in blue, and you can see that clearly the gap between these two is closing, although it's slowing down, but it's still closing. And just so you understand how difficult it is to compete in China, you will see that if you look at the top 10, Tesla is the only one in the top 10 when it comes to foreign brands. And here in green, you can see how many Model 3s have been registered. Now, one reason could be because there were almost no Model 3 registrations here, so Tesla is just catching up to the demand, whereas before it was pretty stable. So I don't expect that to continue, but if it does, it will be great news. And one thing to keep in mind with all of these deliveries is that Tesla is running a promotion in China, 0 down or 0 interest rate. Keep in mind though that this promotion has been around for a little while now. We know that in Italy, EV adoption is not exactly high, it's actually pretty low. But Italy announced some electric vehicle incentives. Now there's a price cap of these vehicles, but you're eligible for 6,000 incentive. So that definitely makes a difference. And in Malaysia, the EV adoption is growing. It's still not that high, but it is now not zero. And this is good. Tesla has secured a new $150 million Megapack contract for a new battery in Australia. It will be the first 8-hour battery to be built in Australia. The South Korean government is reportedly investigating Tesla for infringement of the Personal Information Protection Act, such as personal information leakage or unauthorized filming of the people inside, I guess. I don't think it will really go anywhere, but it's something to keep an eye on. As predicted, it's happening. Senior manager of site acquisition and business development for commercial charging at Tesla was recently rehired. Here's what he says. 2 weeks ago, I was asked to return to Tesla in my previous capacity, heading up business development and site acquisition for Tesla charging, I accepted. He says, this quote by our former fearless leader guided me. You work at Tesla because you hope to have at least a small impact on our collective future, aspirationally to leave the world better for our children and grandchildren and their grandchildren by accelerating the transition to sustainable energy. And that mission is too important to allow any distraction, said Rebecca Tanucci. I wonder if there's more going on between her and Elon Musk, or was it really just her not wanting to lay off more people than what Elon Musk requested? When another biography of Elon Musk will be written, we will probably find out, because this was a pretty big moment for Tesla.